one encouraging thing I see is that a lot of kids are actually rebelling against this particular thing. You know, even mankind rebels against God. Of course, they're going to rebel against their own government. This is a kid basically stamping on the flag. If you don't mind playing that one more time, that's from a friend of the podcast, Elijah Schaefer. That I do believe that's in Lithuania, where a kid was handed a rainbow flag and he's just stepping on it. I think that these things, they're on a clock. I think God's a funny guy. I think people will rebel against these things. Heck, kids, they rebelled against our parents to an extent. You know, coming into... what do you think about that?
Every culture breeds its own counterculture. And what the LGBTQ plus community hasn't realized yet is that they are now actually the culture. They won. Congratulations, guys. You won. You got what you wanted. But they haven't changed their tactics. They're still engaging tactics as though they're the counterculture. And what's happening is the real counterculture, which is much more conservative and much more libertarian as opposed to liberal in the American sense of the word, and believes in individual expression and freedom, sure, but don't you dare shove it down my throat. You can use whatever pronouns you want for yourself, but don't you dare tell me what pronouns I'm going to use for you. And there's a lot of young people now just going, I can be cool by rebelling against the culture. What's the culture? It is these guys. They haven't adapted to that reality yet. They're playing catch up. We're seeing the rise of what's called the brohemians in America. And these are kind of college frat boys that are just taking no nonsense. They're just not putting up with the crap anymore. And we're seeing a critical mass forming. I mean, obviously in parts of Eastern Europe, it's even more advanced. But even in English-speaking countries, we're seeing a critical mass being formed where these people can't be cancelled. They can't be taken down piecemeal. They can't be targeted the way that was possible 5 years ago. Every culture breeds its own counterculture, and we're watching this incredible shift happen before our eyes.
Yeah. Yeah, look...
Just on that.
Please, yeah.
Very interesting point of what we see in this sort of pushback. There's some recent polls we saw from both Germany and Canada, which shows people under the age of 30 or 35, they are now majority voting for the Conservative parties. Now, it's always been, ever since I was at school, people on what they say if you were, you were a green when you left school sort of thing, you didn't have a heart and those things. And as you developed and you went through your life and you got more life experience, you realised how wrong you were. Now we are seeing the exact opposite. Now we are seeing, we saw the polls out of Canada and we saw in Germany, and I'd imagine it's the same in many other countries, that it was seeing so many young people now saying, hang on, I disagree with the way all these left ideologies are pushing. This is not in my best interest. And they're supporting the Conservatives. And I think we're going to see more and more of that. I think we'll see more and more of that here in Australia as well.
We've got a little way to go in Australia. I do have a teenage daughter who does attend university. And unfortunately, they're still quite left-leaning. So when The Voice vote was around, one of their lecturers came out and said, let's all go in unison and vote yes for The Voice, which I find is absolutely astounding that we've got an education facility that is full of indoctrination instead of education. There is no critical thinking taught to our youth. We do have a problem.
Yeah. However, younger people today, I think part of the reason why we're seeing these incredible shifts, which are happening, very, very real and happening before our eyes, is because they were raised with the consequences of the sexual revolution. So the boomers got to enjoy the sexual revolution themselves, but their children and their grandchildren are enduring the long-term consequences. And guess what? They don't like what they're seeing. They're enduring the broken homes that came from the free love era. They're enduring the mental health crisis that comes from the purposelessness that comes from the abandonment of faith. They're actually living the consequences of that 1960s sexual revolution. And now we're watching 60 years later as people are saying, no, forget the fake stuff, forget the fun stuff, forget the hedonism. Give me purpose over pleasure any day of the week. And that's the movement that's coming out amongst young people right now.
Absolutely. I think in terms of